Yeah. Yeah, so we did a study, a quantitative study, data on psychologization. Yeah, I want to present some data of this today. It's preliminary data. It's currently under review. Okay, yeah, everything is fine. As you can see from the title, the paper is on psychologization and stigmatization, and especially on the link of it. Today, I'll more focus on the psychologization part, and Georg will later focus on stigma. And as you can also see from the title, it's on long COVID, but also on patients with post-COVID-19 vaccination syndrome. A common German term for this is post-vac, but yeah, I use that one in the presentation and also in the paper, so PCVS. Okay, what have we done? So 1 year ago, we did an online survey in German, convenient sampling method, snowball principle via associations of affected persons and support groups. We tried to avoid recruitment via social media, as we are aware on the debate surrounding long COVID, but even more so PCVS. And we didn't want to attract trolls. In the analysis included were the data from 2,053 people, 2/3 of them with long COVID and 1/3 with PCVS. The sample was mostly female as it is with post-acute affection syndrome, and what's not helpful when it's come to psychologization. The sample was highly educated, typical online survey, more severely affected, and most of them had an official diagnosis of long COVID, and also most of the PCVS sufferers had one. Okay, how did we measure psychologization? In 2 ways. The first one we called perceived psychologization. We developed a new 4-item scale with items like, I get the impression that many people see long COVID, PCVS as a purely mental illness. And we also measured something we called experienced psychologization. So 1 item, have you ever experienced your symptoms primarily being attributed to mental illness, like burnout or depression? We further asked with whom they had this experience with, like doctors, family, friends, and also how strongly they felt emotionally burdened by this experience of psychologization. Also, we measured lots of outcomes: disclosure concerns, trust in medicine, life satisfaction, depression, anxiety, self-esteem, and loneliness, and also stigma, but not the focus of that presentation. Yeah, time is running. Quick jump to the results. Perceived psychologization. So here are all of our 4 new items. The dark blue are the long COVID patients. The brighter blue are the PCVS patients. Yeah, it's agreement in percent. And as you can see, agreement was pretty high, between 60 to 80%, and slightly higher in all items for the PCVS patients than for the long COVID patients. Experienced psychologization. First of all, prevalence rate 84%. So really, really high. Psychologization happens frequently. The second question was with whom they had this experience with. So who psychologizes? Yeah, in terms of frequency, that this is clearly led by doctors and medical professionals. That's something we see in qualitative work as well, but also other agencies psychologize: friends, family members, colleagues, public authorities. And the emotional burden arises from this was constantly really high and very similar across the different agencies. Okay, correlations with the outcomes. Psychologization, both kind of it were positively correlated with disclosure concerns, loss of trust in medicine, loneliness, depression, anxiety. Positively correlated means the higher the one, the higher the other. So the higher the psychologization, the higher disclosure concerns are loss of trust in medicine, etc. And both kinds of psychologization were negatively correlated with life satisfaction and self-esteem. That means the higher the psychologization, the lower life satisfaction and self-esteem were. Yeah, also high correlations with stigma. but not the focus of that talk. Really interesting. So, but for a second, let's focus on one outcome, loss of trust in medicine, clearly correlated with psychologization. The question was, has your trust in medicine changed as a result of your experience during your disease? Answers could be given from increased strongly to decreased strongly, and as you can see, there was an increase in 5% all in all, but the decrease is enormous. It's like more than 80%. This is for the full sample. In the PCVS sample, it was like over 90%. And I think this is something we should really worry about. And it's not only the trust in medicine, it's also trust in psychology. Yeah, in a qualitative work by Joe Hunt and Charlotte Please, we'll talk later. I found this sentence: I doubt that I ever trust a psychologist again. It was a study with ME, or work on ME/CFS patients. And I think, yeah, also this is yeah, we should really worry about it, as trust is the basis of any therapeutic relationship. Yeah. Okay, quick conclusion. Psychologization is a problem. It hinders biomedical research. It is an additional emotional burden for patients, as we've seen in the data. It's correlated with lots of unfavorable outcome, like a loss of trust in medicine, more disclosure concerns, lower life satisfaction. And there is a close connection between the experience of psychologization and stigmatization, in the way that psychologization appears to be an important driver of stigmatization and negative outcomes. Yeah, details in the paper. One last slide. So, is psychology useless for post-acute affection syndromes? Of course not, but I think the role should be really clear here. So I see the role of psychologists, psychotherapists, psychiatrists, also neurologists, in a competent differential diagnosis, recognition and treatment of secondary mental illnesses, and the support in coping with post-acute affection syndromes, like learning strategies like pacing, dealing with the new identity as a chronically ill person that is a real burden. Yeah, so I think there's enough work for us to do. No need to psychologize, but of course, all of this requires knowledge about post-acute affection syndromes, so educate yourself, dear colleagues. Yeah, thanks for your attention.